Hello everyone, this is Spark Operator Community Call on 12th of July. This meeting will be recorded and published on YouTube. This meeting is governed by the CNCF Code of Conduct. Welcome everyone. So with this, I can pass it to you, Charon, so you can move forward with the agenda items.
Yeah, thanks everyone for making it to today's meeting. So we have a list of items to discuss. I think most of us have attended the previous meetings, so we can probably skip the intro. But yeah, if you have any new use cases, if you are new to Spark Operator and have adopted it in production or are just evaluating it, yeah, feel free to introduce yourself and your company and your use cases. Otherwise, we'll move to the agenda items. Oh, Francisco, you raise your hand.
Yeah, I mean, I can briefly introduce me. I think I know some of you from different channels, but I guess I'll just introduce myself for those that don't know me. I'm Francisco. I recently joined Red Hat. I work primarily in distributed workloads and distributed training, so particularly in the Kubeflow training operator and Kubeflow pipelines, but I'm also a maintainer for Feast. And so I do think the Spark operator would be really good tool for Feast, particularly in the historical feature retrieval. And so that's why I'm here.
Oh, yeah, welcome. So just out of curiosity, do you also run PyTorch with Spark?
That we don't use Spark at the moment.
Oh, okay. I see. All right. Anyone else? Yeah, E.
Hi, it's my first time here, and let me introduce myself. I'm working at Alibaba Cloud in Beijing, China, and there are some companies running their Spark workloads at our managed Kubernetes cluster. So I want to contribute some code to the Spark operator to improve the performance and the maintenance. So that's that.
Great, welcome. Yeah, in case you don't know, E has been a star contributor to the project. He has made lots of contributions, reviews, code contributions as well. Yeah, his most recent PR is a large-scale refactoring of the whole project using controller runtime to rewrite the whole thing. So it's still in beta and the review stage. Everyone is welcome to take a look. We can also spend some time today to talk about the next steps for that major rework.
Yeah, thank you very much, Yi, and all the work that you've done and also promoted as a reviewer for our repo. So well done, thank you.
All right. Anyone else?
I can go next. I don't think I've met the full group though. I'm Russ Bonde. I work at Apple with Andre, and we work on like notebooks and like making interactive notebooks with Spark and all kinds of like interactive workloads from Jupyter context. So we also have a Jupyter like team member here with us that not on the call, but that work with Andre and I. So we kind of try to keep the two communities as close together as we can to make sure we can build the best Jupyter-based experiences for the interactive users and keep them happy.
Oh, awesome.
Nice to meet everyone.
All right. So how about we let's get started with the agenda. If there's no other person who wants to introduce themselves. All right. So let me
share. We have a few more folks here on the call. Maybe Shravan and you also want to say hi to the community.
Yeah. Hello everyone. I'm Shravan. I'm actually I work with Russ and Andre and Zach on notebooks. So excited to get Spark on Kubeflow and see where that takes us. So excited to join this call. Thank you.
Cool.
I think you're the same Shravan, right? Who commented on the proposal. Thank you for your inputs.
Yes, that's me. I think I will probably be on the dock a little bit more also. You'll probably hear more of me.
Cool.
All right. Cool. Let me share my screen. Desktop 2. Okay, so apparently I need to open my system settings to grant Zoom access to my screen. I probably need to exit and then rejoin. Let's see.
Yeah, you should be able to share one once you rejoin, Sharon. Let's try this out because I think you have the permission, right?
Okay, yeah, I need to quit and reopen. All right, I'll be back.
Yeah, sure. In the meantime, like if you have other items to the agenda, feel free to update. I think we have some items already, right, in the agenda list for interactive sessions and for what else?
Yeah. The interactive sessions is one of them, and then V 2.0, that's a big one. So
Oh yeah, the new release.
Yeah.
Controller.
So I think V 2.0, we got 2 items there. We'll wait until Sharon comes. But the plan is to add and give more time and add more features to this, and also fix the releases. Probably need to add the issue that Andre created for the new release pattern. That might be worth going as part of V 2.0, which is having one tag for both Helm chart as well as the image, so that we can do weekly or bi-weekly releases, whatever, rather than currently we are doing like a release for every single commit, but that's going to change with this V 2.0 as well. Do you have that issue, Andy? Andy?
Yeah. I will edit the issue like once we discuss topics. So maybe first we can discuss the interactive session on the agenda list.
Yeah.
Okay. That sounds good.
Are you guys look at my Google Docs screen?
Yes.
Okay. All right. So the first topic in the agenda is from Vikas, proposal to support interactive workloads in notebooks. Vikas, do you want to give us a quick overview, quick recap of this proposal for those who haven't got time to read through it?
Yeah, sure. So, guys, for those who are actually previously who have worked with Kubeflow, there is actually Kubeflow notebooks, a component Kubeflow called Kubeflow notebooks, which comes with a Jupyter lab as one of the notebooks where you can actually develop your basically run your code interactively. When one of the clients, which for me, just as an introduction, I run my small consulting firm based out of Sydney, and primarily working for the government sector over here in Australia. And both of my clients currently who are using Kubeflow, and and one of them is already using Spark, but that was primarily in EMR. But recently they've migrated into Spark on EMR on EKS, which is Spark on Kubernetes, and the other one is looking into now deploying Spark. And both have the same problem that the users there are used to working with notebooks, and that is why we actually thought, because Kubeflow notebook has got this functionality, and for users who are proper developers, there's VS Code where if Metals is installed into those into those base images, they should be able to work with. They should be able to use Kubeflow notebooks directly to actually run their Spark workloads as well. And currently, what even locally in my consultancy, how we are currently running interactive workloads is through using a Jupyter Enterprise Gateway, which is like this implementation, which is directly mentioned by AWS on their website. But frankly speaking, and no offense to the AWS folks on those meetings, it's kind of becoming a pain in maintaining two solutions, and that's why we want to actually see if we can get if we can get the Jupyter notebooks available outside of Kubeflow to run the Spark workload interactively, so that we don't have to maintain two solutions. And this is primarily the main reason that we propose it to community, so that whoever are interested can contribute to it. And I'm pretty sure Jupyter Notebook is a commonly used tool in across organizations throughout the world. So there would be others who would be in the same boat who would actually like to like this feature as well. We have initially the proposal document which I drafted about 2 weeks ago only had Jupyter Enterprise Gateway and the reason was because this is what using the use of Jupyter Enterprise Gateway, and this is what the current solution which was, and we was trying to work through it, but apparently on some discussions with Andre and others offline, I found out that currently it won't work over there because it's actually uses Jupyter Lab Server, and that's why the configurations are missing. But we've been active in Apache Livy community as well, and the PR which I mentioned in the link, it was merged a couple of days ago. So that is using Apache Livy. So Apache Livy with the latest version when they release, it should actually have full-on functionalities to work with Spark on Kubernetes as well. So that is another option as well. And the third option was proposed by Matthew Wicks, who is actually the maintainers of, who is the working group lead for Kubeflow notebooks about using Apache Zeppelin. But personally, I'm just not a fan of adding another tool for just one particular functionality, but happy to look into it. And Shravan did propose directly using Apache Tori kernel locally in the pod. I saw the current notebook Kubeflow Jupyter Lab configuration, and this seems to be there seems to be option of running specifying a remote kernel over there, something along the lines. So this option seems to be feasible as well, but haven't tried it. So I thought like I'll probably propose it to the community and get more feedback if there are more other options which probably are working for people, or if not, then what should be the approach which we should be taking, which should be actually be prioritizing at this point of time. This is primarily, this is primarily what I had.
Okay, just a quick question on that before others can come in as well. So I know the Apache Spark community is also, there was an open issue, but I don't know. There's an open issue of submitting the jobs to an existing server in a client mode. Did you look into and research those open issues? It would be nice to actually link those things here.
Actually, I'm not aware of that, Vara, but if you can put the link or something, any information you have about it, I can probably take a look.
Okay, no problem. I think it's been like a couple of months, and I've seen that there's a lot of demand around today with the Spark operator. You unlike Flink, right? So you are not just Spark operator, even Spark submit. You can. Every job runs as a dedicated cluster, but there is a huge interest and demand where they want to submit the jobs to an existing cluster. That's one thing, but the proposed solution that you have is, I see a lot of users and customers I work with today, they are using Jupyter Hub, to do the data processing and testing, whatever, before they go into the production. And the second thing I could see is a Livy. I'm sure that is a very highly popular. It's definitely is the solution that I know many customers are using it and users are interested as well. But overall, yeah, proposal looks good to me. But I haven't gone through the whole doc, but I will do it after the meeting. Thanks.
And what are the one which you were mentioning about? Is that the Spark Connect thing, which was recently added to connect to basically the existing clusters?
Correct.
Is that a feature on top of Spark Connect?
Yes, yes, yeah. Correct.
If
Are you tracking?
No, I was a part of Databricks before I started my own firm. So at point of time, Spark Connect was just coming into. But if you can post a Jira link or something, any documentation, that would help as well. And I can probably look into options. And in case if we actually end up having multiple options, I think I would probably need some help from others so that we can divide and conquer.
Yeah, let me jump in now. Like, I think on option one, you have 3 options under option one. So,
Uh, Oh yeah. So basically, again, there is under option one. Yes, there are two.
no,
yeah.
I'm saying like I can let me explain the three. The way you've described them, I understand, but you actually even have another three, right? Or let's say two more on top of what you have.
Yep.
So we know Almond really well, right? We work a lot with the Almond project owner, and so the way we run things is we will launch dynamic clusters, and then we connect to those dynamic clusters. We can silo each user. Now with Spark Connect coming up, that's the other option, right? But the option of sharing a cluster without Spark Connect, we went away from that many years ago because it was fraught with all kinds of contention issues. Right? Okay. So really, I think the options are figure out a way to get EG working with Spark Operator to bring up a cluster per kernel and connect directly to that driver, which is like the Almond kernel running. And then the other option is get Spark Connect working with Almond and then connect into the shared cluster. Almond has already the ability to connect into a remote cluster. So you get multiple people sharing a cluster. But when we talked with Alex about this a few months back, he wasn't really aware of Spark Connect yet. But I don't think getting Spark Connect working in Almond is all that challenging, obviously. I think the architecture is pretty straightforward. So I think we could like open some issues in Almond to say, hey, support Spark Connect if that's what you want to do. And typically the reason why people want Spark Connect is just the kernel launch speed, right?
All right.
So people want the cluster already hot. Like we've done some optimizations and hopefully we'll talk about at KubeCon around warming up kernels, right? Warming up Spark clusters and what have you. But in general, like if you have, depending upon your use case and your customer needs, you may want to bring up a single large Spark cluster and just share it because there's just less churn and overhead in doing that. But architecturally, I think we could probably make EG do either or all of those things, depending upon which one is higher priority in the short term, right?
Yeah, I actually basically with option one, just as you said, that two options, in my opinion. One is either use Tori kernel or the Almond kernel. And the reason I actually put both of them over there, Enterprise Gateway directly comes with Apache Tori, so you don't have to install it. But Tori, like, it's not very well maintained. The last release was in September 2022, but Almond is like really popular. It's currently being actively maintained.
Yeah.
So
and then like
I was just remembering a talk that was given by a colleague of mine. So he's the Tori maintainer, and the last talk that he presented Tori on was September 2022. So that coincides in timeline with the last contribution, I guess. If it's not well maintained, then that can be a concern. Similar things can be said about Zeppelin, right? Last time I remember, Zeppelin is not well maintained either.
With Apache Livy, because I'm kind of active over there, it seems like it's not actively maintained, but apparently they are in an incubation state, so that they want to just they're primarily doing targeting only two releases per year, and the reason for that is because there are not much more feature requests coming, and secondly that for them in terms of maintaining the solution, until unless Spark does some drastic changes, like changes their architecture, they don't really have to make any big changes into their code base.
I think one thing to add is just in terms of overall community momentum, I think the momentum, in my opinion, is with Almond and Jupyter today. Yeah. That's kind of what we see in our day-to-day, and then like interacting with a lot of customers in the Jupyter orbit. So like the ability to, and for example, like the author of Almond has gone over to Netflix and helped them move completely off of Tori, right? So if you look in the Almond code base, all the magics, like the add depths magic and stuff, have been ported into Almond so that all of Netflix can move off of Tori, right? So I'd say thinking about, where is the momentum going, and if that's the right direction, I think are things that we should definitely factor in.
Yeah.
Has anyone
sounds good.
examined what it would take to get Almond running with Enterprise Gateway? Or not yet?
In my opinion, you don't need on Enterprise Gateway. Almond just tries to do that. I'm actually just trying to set it up and play with it. It was suggested to me by Andre, so I decided to take a look into it.
Yeah.
I think eventually,
Oh.
so yeah. Go ahead.
No, you go first, Andre.
I mean, like, I think I've been discussing this with Zach, but we basically need to build the Kubernetes kernel provisioner in Jupyter server to make sure Jupyter out of the box supports Kubernetes as a provisioner by default, right? Then I don't know. I mean, we definitely need to speak with Zach and other folks from Jupyter server community, but what is the purpose of gateway in that case, right? If Jupyter can directly provision the kernels on Kube, right? And if we say that Kubernetes is the primary platform to run Jupyter on the cloud, right? And if we all agree with this statement, right? Go ahead, Russ.
No, I mean, I think right. I was gonna say similar to what you're saying. Basically, is we understand the internals of Jupyter pretty well to be able to say you don't even need EG. You just build a few different classes to then orchestrate however you want without using EG if EG is not a good fit. And that's what Andre's alluding to is like the provisioner architecture. You can wire in your own provisioners, right? And ultimately, I think just like testing all of that out, saying getting something working as quickly as possible with Almond may be the best way to like just understand what the path forward is, in my opinion, and then understanding like if there are any challenges in that, how we address those challenges. That would be like my vote in terms of like offering you some type of direction on this, but happy to hear from others.
So is this a proposal to do that integration with Spark Operator?
To me, go ahead. Sorry.
To the best of my knowledge, Jupyter notebooks typically run this in client mode, and they submit jobs in client mode, especially in Spark, and that's based on what I've seen with Databricks or the AWS offering and other solutions which I've worked with. Spark Operator generally supports only supports cluster mode. So I'm not sure if we could actually use like connect Jupyter Notebook to Spark Operator.
Yeah, you're right. I'm just trying to see how that proposal relates to Spark Operator now.
I think what I would think would need to happen in the short term is find a way to use Spark Operator to trigger the launch of Almond-based clusters, and then make changes or a PR to propose changes into Kubeflow notebooks to allow that remote provisioning to happen via Spark Operator. Andre, does that sound like roughly what you and Zach have discussed previously?
Yeah, but the problem is with the Kubeflow notebooks, I'm not like 100% sure, but I guess they're directly using Jupyter Lab, right? So I don't know how flexible there are to add extensions, right? On top of the Jupyter server. So this one, I'm just not sure if we need to build another image, which actually will support it in the Kubeflow notebooks, right?
Yeah, we can take a look. I'll take a look there, because we've had to do some of that customization too, like more like low level customization without forking. But it has pretty good hooks, I think, for making some of those changes. But we could also work with Zach to understand like if we're on the right track.
Because did you try to explore, like how Kubeflow notebooks today have been built and have been deployed?
So this is what currently I was doing. So they're on the pod image they've got, they actually run the kernel locally currently, and it's connect to that. But there are the configuration which is generated in that base image, it actually has support for remote kernel as well. But I'm not sure. I haven't got to the point where when Shravan suggested to try looking into it. I haven't got to the point of basically running a Tori or a Almond kernel remotely or locally on that pod. I'll have to actually try that.
Okay. I think we can.
Yeah, that's option 4, which I proposed after the comment from Shravan.
I think because probably we need to kind of update the ask and a little bit around how we want this solution to be integrated with Spark Operator, and like RP said, some angle to link to that, which is going to be useful for the users who are using Spark Operator. But as in whole, yes, I see that demand with the Jupyter and Livy and everything that you mentioned on its own. But yeah, that's good. We can continue with that. But anyone have any other queries and questions on that before we move on to the next?
So yeah, a quick comment on the client versus cluster mode question. Spark Operator runs Spark jobs with cluster mode, that's true. But once the initial Spark submit command is launched, the driver gets requested from API server, and then the driver will launch another Spark submit command to request executors. So what you can do is that you can embed the kernel in the Spark image that you run, and then the kernel will basically run alongside the driver. Then that will use client mode.
Actually, that is a good suggestion as well.
Yeah, but at this point, I'm not too sure what the changes or feature requests are being asked for Spark Operator per se to support this requirement. But yeah, but as things become more clarified, yeah, we can discuss more. So yeah, because do you think that you have enough information to pursue some further research?
I think, yeah, I've got enough items, and I am not very well versed with basically what do you say, the Jupyter and the Jupyter ecosystem. As a user, yes, I am, but not as like an administrator. So I'll probably be bugging some of you guys on Slack.
So I think the question that maybe we have, so Chao and Vara, do you see any demand from Spark operator community to, have open source solution to run interactive Spark sessions right now? Or it's kind of out of the scope of today use cases, how people run Spark operator in production?
So,
based on...
Go ahead.
Somebody.
Go ahead, Vara.
No, based on my experience working with the customers, and I see the most of them are using Spark Operator, but when it comes to the processing, they leverage Jupyter Hub with Spark Submit. So running the driver in Jupyter Hub and executors in the cluster itself, Kubernetes cluster itself. That's the pattern that I'm seeing. Once they are working fine, and then they publish that pattern, run it as a part of the Spark operator through Airflow, whatever the schedule is. That's what I see, but I see more and more where hearing about Livy integration quite a lot. So that's why I mentioned that. But overall, yeah, that's the question that I have. Now Sharon said, you can add a kernel and make it run like a client mode. That might be useful pattern and related to the Spark operator if we can do it.
Yeah.
And to add to that, to what Vara said, that's pretty much the pattern I've seen as well. And that people, especially for with data scientists, they actually use Spark interactively to do a lot of exploratory data analysis for the new data sets which come in. And that's where, although usually the production jobs which are run through Spark operator, but even during development of these Spark jobs, or for any doing a quick test or a quick POC or exploratory data analysis, interactively running Spark workload is what I've seen as a common trend, and users are asking for it. And given the documentation of Spark operator actually mentions that it only supports cluster mode, and that's where the confusion with people like me is, okay, probably Spark operator will not be able to support this. But Andre, here everybody knows the internals of Spark operator. So if we can actually integrate that part with Spark operator, as you mentioned, by running a kernel with the driver itself, then yeah, that would be a solution as well. that could be a potential solution as well.
Yeah. All right. I think it's more, yeah, my question more about like the interest, from folks who are maybe at least active on a Spark operator side, right? Because if we see enough interest, maybe, like we should see how we can build this product around, making Jupyter more more useful compared to what we have today in open source, right?
Yep.
And providing the reference architecture for people to use Jupyter for something more on the cloud, right?
Yeah.
And there are some work in the Jupyter community right now to build some extensions for workflows, for RTC, for Jupyter AI, right? Yeah, so we definitely need to see like what kind of interest we have there, and how we can find the folks who can help us to work on this. Yeah, go ahead, Raz.
Yeah.
Sorry, Var, if you want to go first.
No, I think I finished it.
I was just going to say, like, kind of what I was saying earlier is like, that's why I think investing in the Jupyter side is probably the right thing for the long term, because I see this happening in many different companies are spinning up remote Spark kernels via Jupyter. And if you solve that in the Kubeflow world with Spark operator and integrate those things nicely, people can do data prep with remote Spark on Kubernetes, right? And then build their features, put them wherever they want to put them, and then use training operator to do training. I feel like that's a really natural kind of like, let's say, symbiotic relationship between the projects within Kubeflow. If we could make that happen, I think it's good for many companies, right?
Yeah, because what we see more and more, like, folks want to have flexibility and also want to have a simple experience, right? And Jupyter is the answer for this, right? Like using Jupyter just for more than just running the, like local queries. It's definitely like, provide a much more flexibility for data scientists to do the quick experimentation and using the
They
native.
do.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, that's very common pattern. They do it all the time now. It's just the integration of the Spark operator probably is what the proposal is going to be, I guess, now.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
Since we only have 15 minutes, we want to go
let's
with the next
move
one.
on. Yeah, in the interest of time. Moving on to I added this second item for version 2.0. So considering that we have a few significant contributions that are well, relatively in early stages, and I guess some community members will have concerns merging them as is in the current main branch. So there's a suggestion, I think, coming from Era to create a version 2.0, and gradually we'll move all these commits into a version 2.0 branch so that we can develop independently of the current main branch while maintaining stability and not while still allowing us to innovate on all these major changes. So that's the idea. So we have these two major PRs. Not sure if anyone in this chat in this call has got a chance to review these, but maybe we can have a look at this one first. So this is a PR coming from you. So what other work do you think is needed before it can be merged into release 2.0 branch? Any comments?
Is he in there? Go.
Yeah.
Let me think. I just want to know, in the future, how should we do the release of the Spark operator? And the version 2.0 is just simply just a re-implementation of Spark operator, and it's totally different with the main branch. So the GitHub workflows, maybe we need to separate it from the main branch.
Can I have yeah, sorry, I have a suggestion, like maybe you can think about it. So you, like Charan and Vara, what do you think about this? Like, can you just cut another release 1.9 branch? What is the latest release of Spark? It's 1.1 1.6, right? Or 1.4. So the suggestion would be like maybe you should cut the release branch called like 1.6 and use this branch as the version for people who want to use existing version of Spark Operator. And all the changes for control runtime you directly will push to main, to master or main. Like I think you call it master right now, right? In that case, you can use this release 1.6 branch for people who are using the current version of Spark Operator. And at the same time, you could push all the new changes to the master branch. Because I guess like there is no really reason for you to not push directly to the master. I'm talking about the control runtime migration.
Yeah, that's that.
And you can cherry pick, right? So you can always cherry pick on the release 1.6 branch the bug fixes you need to make for the version like 1.6, right, of Spark Operator.
Yeah, I'm wondering what's the practice adopted by other open source projects. For example, Spark, when they migrated from Spark 2 to Spark 3 and now Spark 4.0, and also other projects. I remember for Helm, there used to be Helm 2.0 and then there was 3.0. Like what were the major practices adopted by those projects in terms
I
of
mean,
implement?
the only I tend to see like this. The reason we changed it to 2.0 is just because we are kind of refactoring the whole Spark operator with this pattern, and there are a lot of customers, existing customers, who want to use it and add fixes to an existing pattern. So the version that we have, we will have an incremental changes to the existing version, but the 2.0 is basically it's a pre-release that refactoring the whole thing, and then we want to add all the performance improvements and also do a release changes, and then release that that goes back into the main release once everything is tested and users are migrated to this. That's an intention of that, but because it's going to be like a major release and it can't be a dot release of 1.6 or 1.7 in this case.
So why? So in that case, like, so you want to like merge the performance changes to the 2.0 branch, right?
This
To
is
the
at the
next,
moment
to the
it is on
next,
its own branch.
yeah.
Yeah, the performance improvement PR, that's debatable whether it should go in the current branch or 2.0, because this is based on the non-controller runtime implementation.
So I would
Yeah.
suggest, yeah, I mean, merge this first, and then, so I can give you how Kubernetes works, like how Kubernetes community maintain the stable release and the measure versions. So they maintain the release branches, right, and then create the text, right? So they push everything to the master, and when they're ready to do the next release, they basically cutting the release branch, and cherry picking the changes from the master branch directly to the release branch if it has some bug fixes, or like other like security any CVs they want to fix, right? But usually the release branch stays stable within the GitHub repo if users wants to use it. That is why like I was thinking about maybe you should just cut the 1.6 release branch, and if user wants to use the previous version of Spark Project, they can always do so, right? By using the previous version of actually the 1.6 release branch.
Yeah, that has the benefit of encouraging contributions to the controller runtime version because it's in the main branch. Because with the release 2.0 branch, my concern is that people will always have the inertia of falling back to the old implementation and yeah, contributing to that and not paying too much attention to version 2.0, which is hidden in another branch.
Yeah, and you also need to cherry pick all of your PRs to the release 2.0, like imagine.
Right.
So
yeah, cherry picking. Yeah, good point.
Yeah. Unless it is ready to go quickly, so the longer we keep it.
Yeah. So anyone else has any opinions about this topic? So if there's no other opinions, how about we give that a try? Andre's suggestion.
Yeah.
Yeah, but
Just
then
so I
you
can
need,
put it down.
before doing this, you need to merge all the PRs to the master. I'm not talking about control runtime, like all the things you want to have on this 1.6 branch, right? Before releasing it, right? So yeah, do we know how many PRs you want to merge, like, urgently, like any pending PRs?
There's a few, but not. I don't think too many.
Yeah.
Nothing critical as such, right? So we can hold on to if required.
Yeah, I remember like you also discussed with you that you want to keep the Helm version the same, right? Right now I have two versions, right? I think you don't have a chance to refactor it, right? To have a single version for image and for Helm charts.
Yeah.
Yeah, someone is working on that. There's an issue open, but the plan is to make just single release. But that work needs to be done for sure.
Okay, so then coming back to the controller runtime PR, what's the risks or concerns with merging that to main branch? So Yi, that's a question for you. Do you think that your draft version right now has feature parity with the existing implementation? Do you think do you see any reasons for concern with merging that?
Sorry, I cannot catch you. Can you say that again?
Yeah. So like, does your implementation already have all the features that the old implementation has?
I have tested the except for batch scheduler, all other features have been implemented. And the batch scheduler, I just didn't test it.
Okay, batch scheduler. Yeah, the unicorn thing.
I have redesigned the batch scheduler in order to integrate with more scheduler like unicorn coordinator, something like that.
Got it.
And have for other features I have already tested and our example spec applications can all run successfully.
We can ask the community here to try this same test, and I think you shared those tests, right? How to run.
Yeah, I think that's probably fine. The batch scheduler support that we can rely on the community to add over time. But it's already a wide array of features that you have already implemented. That's quite impressive. Okay, so if everyone is on the same page regarding the next steps, then I can work with Vara and Andre to implement these steps offline.
Just a good question. So how do you do, can you remind me, how do you do releases today? Like for Helm charts? You update the version, right?
Yeah, correct.
All right.
Just looks for the latest version, but yeah, we need to change that, I guess. It's a little painful now, manually changing things.
I'm then just like wondering, so how many people actually use the changes from master if you only publish the changes when you update the version, right? So yeah, anyway, let's think offline. We just need to like understand like how many people actually depend on the master directly changes, right? In their environment, or they're using the previous version of Spark operator, right? Okay.
Yeah. Okay, we have 7 minutes to discuss the release process. There's a issue that Andre raised.
Oh, this is not special. I think like Vara, you asked me to find the issue. I think this one that you were talking about.
Yeah. I think this goes back to the previous conversation of streamlining the release again. So instead of like creating, so the couple of issues at the moment is the people are struggling with updating their PRs continuously, because if there is one PR merge and they need to update their Helm chart again, So bringing the releases to the weekly is definitely going to solve, and then attaching all the PRs to, as a weekly release, and using this process. If any of the community member want to take a dig at this one, just to streamline the GitHub workflow releases as a weekly, and having one release ID just for both image as well as the Helm charts as well.
So I think you don't, sorry, like you don't need weekly releases. Like what we do, like we just publishing the image. So basically with Spark Operator, you have a single image, right? For your controller, right? So we publish the image tag after every commit. So if users really wants to take like, master, like latest changes, they can always ping their image to the latest commit, like SHA, right? Like the commits tag, the commits identifier, right? But you can do releases maybe quarterly, every 3 months. I know Kubernetes projects like job sites, Queue, any other Kubernetes projects do like quarter releases. So every 3 months, you're going to cut the branch and you're going to do the official, like, RC0, RC1, and then the official release of Spark Operator image, right? And tell like users, if you want to have a stable release like 2.1 or 2.2 or 2.2.3, you can always like take this image version, right? So you don't really need to do like, weekly releases. It's a problem right now because you don't really publish the changes, the publish the document after every commit. Users just cannot take the master like relative
Yeah,
changes. Does that make sense? Yeah.
yeah, it does. It doesn't really make sense that if there is only change to the Helm chart and we don't want to publish the image also again into the Docker Hub, right? I think that's what we need to solve here. So what's the efficient way of, like, mostly the changes are going to be the Helm charts or new features, and less on and the actual code changes. But once we have the refactoring that he is working on, I guess. Yeah, let's keep this as a topic just to see the better way to handle this one.
All right, so that's we're almost on time. Any other topics we want to go over? Oh yeah, there's this another proposal, but I can't seem to find the GitHub issue for it. There's this topic about automatically cleaning up stale PRs in the GitHub issues. Let's say once it goes past 30 days without any activity, then we automatically close those. But I can't seem to find which GitHub issue that is.
It looks like somebody raised a PR. Yeah, I found that.
Okay.
Oh
yeah, add workflow.
7.3.
Oh yeah, you brought that up. Okay, so what does everyone think about that proposal? So I was hesitant with this proposal because from my experience looking at other open source projects, it's frequent. I frequently see that people are not happy that their PRs or issues get closed just because of no activity. Because yeah, but on the other hand, it can be a maintenance overhead over time.
So from my perspective, I think it's a good thing. I understand that some people might get frustrated and, upset that the issues don't have any comments, but it's like, it's up to us to grow like the reviewers base and like, help people to triage issues. So I can share like some things how we do this for training operator, for example. So we have the like, the lifecycle stale and lifecycle frozen. So similar to like the stale bot, basically what he has this in this PR, but very specific labels. And we also have we kind of like mark all of the creating issue with needs triage. So it actually helps contributors to see what issue needs to be triaged by the contributors. But the problem is right now, since it's only like you, Charan, and Vara, like who's on the approach list, like we need to grow the people who can help you with triaging, right? Especially there are so many open issues in Spark Operator today, right?
I think the issue is the tech debt. It's, we can keep up, but we are not referring to all those 500 issues which are open at the moment. So this tailbot, as soon as we switch on this one, it will close pretty much everything. And maybe 80% of them are nobody's caring about. So that's where I'm thinking. So in this specific situation, maybe the stale bot would be useful for us, but maybe increase that stale bot to not just 30 days or 60 days, maybe a longer, so that we can close some of those issues which are 2 years old or 3 years old, which we can't really go through all those 500 issues now at the moment.
Yeah. Okay. So then, any other opinions? Anyone else? If not, then we can give it a try and reevaluate in the next call, maybe if there's different opinions that time.
Sure. Yeah. I guess we are on the time. Thank you very much. And
Okay. Yeah. Thanks, everyone.
Yeah, thanks. Nice to see everyone.
See you
Yeah,
guys.
see you in 4 weeks.
thanks,
Have a good
guys.
weekend.
Bye.
Bye.